And when she fell back, the mirror broke and cut her on her wrist right here. I have to say it was the Most High that saved her that day. A soft answer turns away wrath, but harsh words stir up anger. That's Proverbs 15:1. There are other verses inside of that chapter that talk about wrath and provocation and all of that. Psalms 37:8 says, refrain from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not yourself. It tends only to evil. Now today I'm going to talk on that subject of provocation. I've been dealing with this a lot because it's something that I went through and I have still been going through, and I want to help you on your path as you are navigating this crazy thing from our narcissist that we may still be around. So let's deal with the provocation thing. My ex-husband used to provoke me a lot. And it's only towards the end that I realized that that's what he was doing. There was a lot of doing things that he knew would bother me. Like, I heard of a few people on TikTok where their former husbands would tighten things, leave things tightened, so that when it came time for them to open the jar or whatever it was, they would have problems. My ex-husband used to do that. And I remember going into, we had a corner cupboard where we would keep our jams and stuff like that. I remember going into the cupboard and getting out a bottle of jam, and it was marmalade specifically, because I remember this instance. And it's like, this is sticky, yes, I understand that, but it was tightened to the point where I had to run it under hot water. So I just put it in my mind that that was something I had to do. When I would take something out of the fridge, I would just have to get a bowl, put some hot water, turn it upside down, and that's how I would open whatever it was that I needed to open. Now, my children never saw all the craziness that I had to also endure in the bedroom, but they saw plenty outside of the bedroom, because he was a covert narcissist at church. But getting to church, getting around, he didn't have any problem being obnoxious and foolish and conniving and all the different things that they do. So one of the things that he loved to do was to insult me or say things and then say, I had to say what I see going wrong, because he was the man of the house and it was a quote-unquote Christian household. So he would say things that were not necessarily nice, and then say, I have to say what I see going wrong. He would do things opposite of what we would be required to do. But then he would say he had to say what he thought was going wrong. In other words, I have the ability to insult you, and you have the capability of listening to what I say, because he was doggone on that scripture where wives had to obey their husbands and ting, ting, ting. So he was big on saying what he thought that I should do, and I had to comply. So technically, I was never ever right about anything. Never ever right. But one thing that he did that caused challenges, and I will say why, is insult under his breath. And I did a video. I don't know when it's going to come up in the feed because I like to record in batches. But I did a video about provocation several times. I did ones about insulting, and it's not you that they are really after, it's your reaction. So he would say things under the breath because it would give him a big reaction. He would insult me under his breath because say the most insultive things, but in a setting where like we would be in the vehicle and then he would get out and it'd just be like, why would you say that? And I would be really upset because it would be something really, really hurtful. And I would now be in public and saying, why did you say something like that? And he would turn around and say, why are you acting like that? It was nerve-wracking because he would plan it. And it was only towards the end where I finally was like, I'm not giving him what he is wanting. But throughout my marriage, and I was with this man for 20 odd years, he would insult me and do it in a way that he looked like he was the best, and I was the crazy one. I remember one incident specifically. I had gotten this beautiful skirt from Zellers. Canadians would know what I'm talking about. It was a Gloria Vanderbilt skirt, and it was lace, and it was black, and I loved this skirt because it had an elastic waist, and it didn't matter what size I was, I could get into it. And it came with a lining, but I like to double dress, so I wore a slip. And I remember we were going to the grocery store one day, and he had seen me in this skirt several times. I don't know if we were coming from church, we were coming from somewhere fancy. And he's like, why are you wearing your slip outside like so? And like he started on me for the dress that I had worn. I had this item for years. And that specific day, he decided he was going to pick a fight so that wherever we were going, and I can't remember exactly where we were going. I think it was a grocery store after we had gone somewhere fancy. He wanted to make sure that when I got to this grocery store, I would be upset. And I'm like, you've seen me wear this skirt several times before. You know I never leave the house without a slip. Why are you trying to be disagreeable right now? And I called him on his ish. I called him on it that day. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry, but it looked like he was just wearing a slip and ting, ting, ting. And I was like, you are trying to pick a fight. And there's no reason for it. There's no reason for it at all. It like, at the end, I knew he was picking fights, but before, you're living life. You don't, like, you're just trying to get by with this person who is never happy. So this was one incident, and it was just like, no, I'm not going for it this time. So it was something that some of my children picked up on, specifically my middle daughter, and she tried it. She tried to use this thing several times. And I would hear my youngest daughter getting upset because they shared a room, my middle and my youngest. And I would be like, what's going on? And finally, my eldest daughter said, my middle daughter is doing what daddy does. She is saying things under her breath and making the youngest get angry. Wow. And I was just like, okay. So from that day on, when I would hear my youngest daughter get upset, I would call my middle daughter by name, and I would say, what did you do? And then we would hear the real situation. I started learning that this was something that she was picking up on, and I warned her. And she didn't listen until one day. Now, I used to lead worship at a few different African churches. And what I would do is I would go for worship practice. The kids would get ready, and then I would come pick them up and come back in time for church. I came, for some reason, I think I didn't have any money on my cell phone, or I don't remember why, but the kids couldn't get a hold of me, but they knew I was coming back. I came back one day, and my eldest daughter met me outside, and she said, "Don't panic." Don't panic. Those were the first two words that she said to me as I came out of the vehicle. And I was like, don't panic for what? My eldest was trying to warn me that there was an accident. My middle daughter had gotten glass in her hand. This was a mirror that my husband was supposed to have fixed and never fixed. So it just sat in the bedroom and was never attached to the dressing table where it was supposed to have been attached to. Apparently, my middle daughter had provoked my youngest daughter by saying stuff under her breath, and my youngest daughter got angry and pushed her into the mirror. And when she fell back, the mirror broke and cut her on her wrist right here. I have to say it was the Most High that saved her that day. I was trying not to freak out because they got it to stop bleeding. It really was the Most High, because as you looked, you could see sinew, you could see bone. I drove her to the hospital. I don't know how I did it. I don't know how we parked. I don't know how anything happened. I just know she was seen quite quickly. And they made sure that she was okay. She had cut herself in such a way that had she gone a smidgen more either way, she would not be here today. She would not be here today. I couldn't even stay in the room while they were sewing her up. It wasn't a lot, but they had to sew in layers because it had cut so deeply. Like I said, it was the Most High that preserved her life that day. I didn't end up going to church, of course. Their father did not come to make sure she was okay. He stayed at church. He did not leave church. He stayed. I was the worship leader, and they got through okay without me, but he was not doing anything specific and stayed. He did not make sure his daughter was okay. He did not. My middle daughter was turning into a narcissist. She was taking on the qualities that my ex-husband had and insulting people under their breath. That incident stopped her. That incident stopped her. And of course, I couldn't punish my youngest. I couldn't punish either of them because they learned their lesson. Guess who's the narcissist? It's not either of those two. So when I say watch the provocation and the results of the provocation, I'm speaking from experience. I've seen what it could do. I've seen the damage it can cause. Watch the provocation. They want you to be on the receiving end of the badness, of the trauma, of the everything that could possibly go wrong. Like I said, some people have lost their life. My daughter almost did that day. Don't let them provoke you to wrath. Don't let them provoke you to the point where you lose your cool and end up in real trouble. Don't do it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. It was a while. My daughter couldn't use her hand. She had to learn how to write with her left hand because it happened on her right hand, and it caused problems. It is a constant reminder to her of what doing those negative insults can do. It's a constant reminder. And I'm not glad that that happened, but I'm glad she has a reminder. So, when they're provoking you, call on the Most High. Start saying your Psalms. Psalms 35, Psalm 91. Do it in a circular fashion for half an hour, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, however long, and you'll start to see the Most High come to your rescue. But don't let them get under your skin. Don't let them get under your skin. All right, this is Sambuka sending you acres of love. I hope this was helpful for someone and encourage them in their situation. Salembe.